Today is time to read Jataka tale. So, and today we're gonna talk about one of Bodhisattva's practice of generosity, and it's about a strength of generosity of a Bodhisattva, and that considered as a previous reincarnation of Buddha. So I heard today Dimitri will read, right? Could you read that for us?
As a bodhisattva, the Buddha was once a wealthy merchant prince. Knowing that wealth was fleeting and a source of temptation, he was joyful in bestowing it on supplicants. Because he was free from selfishness and other vices, he was known as Avishahya, or the Unconquerable one. Shakra, the king of the gods, was amazed by Avishahya's boundless generosity and decided to test it. Using his magical powers, Shakra caused some of Avishahya's wealth to disappear each day. Instead of being dismayed by his mounting losses, Avishahya rushed to give more away before it vanished. Seeing this, Shakra caused Avishahya's remaining wealth to disappear. Avishahya awoke to find his house empty, except for a sickle and a coil of rope. His calm composure left no room for dejection or despair. Unused to begging, he could not bring himself to ask others for help. The realization of how difficult it must be for those forced into begging only increased his compassion for those in that state. Instead, with the sickle and rope, he took up work as a grass cutter, selling what he could to provide alms for those less fortunate. Shakra saw that even in great poverty, Avishahya remained steadfast in his generosity. Thus, Shakra appeared to Avishahya and said, "You have lost your wealth, not because of thieves or calamity, but because of your excessive charity. For your own good, you must subdue your addiction to generosity." To this, Avishahya replied, "Thank you for your kind advice, but my heart has grown used to the joy of giving. Please forgive me, but at this point, I am too weak to change my ways." Shakra responded, "One such as you can easily regain his wealth with little effort. Then you will be able to share it now and then without giving it all away. No one will blame you for showing such reasonable restraint." "O Lord of the gods," Avishahya replied, "surely you know that the span of life is as uncertain as the duration of wealth. That being so, how can I waste even a moment not devoted to generosity? When a cart first makes a path in the ground, a second can more easily follow. I have long traveled this road of charity, and I will not shift to an uncertain path. Should I once more gain wealth, it will surely benefit more mendicants. But even now, in this lowly condition, I will give what I can. May I never be parted from the practice of charity." Seeing Avishahya's unconquerable generosity, Shakra said, "I can no more shake your resolve for charity than the wind can shake a mighty mountain peak. By hiding your wealth, I have only spread your fame. Now go forth and rain down your gifts on all who require them. By my favor, your wealth shall never again diminish. Neither hope for riches or concern for their loss can turn the virtuous from generosity."
It seems like very stubborn Bodhisattva. So, when Bodhisattva was in their practice, and they knew what they were doing, and looks like stubborn sometimes, but it's not, because they know what they are doing, and they have their own stand. They have own reason to be like who they are. So, by the way, the story, the teaching or story, is more about a wrestling between the mind of generosity and another one, stinginess or selfishness. At the beginning, when I read the Tibetan version, which has like, surely in this short term we cannot read whole story even in English, right? So one interesting thing is talking about how humble Bodhisattva is at the beginning. Like Bodhisattva has wealth and knowledge and people who support him, and everything he needs is around there. But what he doesn't have is the arrogance of having those things. That is interesting, when in our life, when we have things, even small sort of privilege, like sinner discount, sort of, you feel like a little bit arrogant having that thing, sometimes. And then any kind of things, whenever we get a little bit, even we practice, when we do the prayers, I also feel arrogant sometimes after that. So this Bodhisattva, even though he has like everything, including practice, including wealth to give away, and then including fame and everything, but it's still being humble and not arrogant of those qualities what he had. And that's interesting part of studying when they describe Bodhisattva in that way. And then on the top of that, he has one thing is missing there, the fear of losing wealth, and that is another thing, like fear, no arrogance, no fear. The fear involved in our life all the time. In general, we have like in Tibetan, like like namdo, like we can have a conceptualizing fear, like it's not fear that you feel, it's a fear that you created by your conceptual mind, thinking too much about something, or like exaggerating incident, and like sometimes we can like fantasize a situation, and then this kind of conceptual mind can cause a lot of fear in our life. Sometimes fear of sickness. You are healthy, you are doing well, you have fear of getting sick in the future, right? So then it's not like ordinary one, something boost your fear and make it scary and make it something that makes you to feel sick right now, sort of creating by our mind. And then fear of criticizing. Nobody criticize you, or nobody scold you, but you have a fear of that thing, And then fear of being isolated. You are not isolated, and surely maybe you are a little bit isolated in physical nowadays or sometime, but mentally you are not isolated. But you have fear of being isolated. You are thinking, oh, nobody will care about me, nobody wants to come near me, nobody likes me, or this kind of fear there. Then you exaggerate it with your conceptualizing mind, like worrying so much and too much. Always I'm saying, when we are born, we're born alone, right? Then sometimes you are lucky, you have some siblings. Sometimes you are who you are. You're born as you, and then there's no siblings. You are the only one. Your mind is like, making more worry so much about being isolated or to be isolated in the future. I'm not saying that nobody will get this kind of problem. It's possible, but sometimes your mind is creating fear, something that not necessary right now, or something and it's not that important. So as I mentioned, we're born as single, we die as single, then there's not such a big we don't need to worry too much about in that kind of situation. Like in great practitioners, they want to be isolated, like Malareba, running away from people all the time, like hiding here and there in cave or like crag of rock. So people, real practitioner like that, like to be isolated sometime. But sometimes we have fear of another way and thinking so much about it. And then sometimes people feel like, being to be like abandoned by others. Like, then we exaggerated those fear. You are not sick yet. You are not criticized. You are not isolated. You are not abandoned, and so forth. But your mind is thinking too much about it, and then making it scary, right? If you think about disease, Google it. You will find tons of them there. They all will scare you. And since you are a human being, you can get all kind of disease there. So then, if you keep worrying about it, then, it's too much there. Then the fear will overwhelm you and you might get sick from that fear. So sometimes, our mind is worrying too much. And like, when I say like conceptualizing fear, meaning is like, it's not fear that you feel because of your instinct. You are, making it in your head. For example, right, when the Tibetans came to, like, any individual Tibetan came to India from Tibet, right? And they have a fear of one day Indian government will kick them out, put them back to Chinese hand. So you go back to Tibet, then they will. So that's their fear, right? And that is not something impossible, or is not that something unrelated. That is possible, that is related. And then among the people, some people know that problem, but they don't worry that much. And some people worry too much, right? And then, there's difference. If they worry so much about one day, the Indian government will kick the refugee out to Tibet, and then those people could not sleep well. Those people have tons of issues inside. Even though they live okay in outside, but inside they always feel insecure. And sometimes then some people might like to go back to Tibet before they kick out. Sort of the fear can cause like that. And then some people, they know the situation, since nothing is happening right now. They know how to, handle the fear, and they live happily there. So, sometimes you need awareness, but you should not exaggerate fear. It should not increase fear inside of your head by your own mind. And now here, the story is not talking about sickness, right? It's talking about losing money, right? And that is very rational thing. If you use your money, if you spend everything, you will end up to have nothing in your hand. That is a very simple thing. There are people who sell the rice, right? For example, rice is example. They sell rice all the time, and they are very eager to sell rice. One day, they have no rice in their shop. Then they come back to their own house. They even have no rice to eat for themselves. Then they have to go to buy the rice from other. right? So like that, even though you are selling rice, if you spend everything, if you sell whole rice, you will end up having no rice in your own kitchen. And that is fact, right? But here, Bodhisattva was not saying that if I spend everything, I will end up to be homeless or something. But he was not saying that will not happen. He said that will happen, but I don't care. I'm not worried about, to end up have nothing. So in that case, Bodhisattva has no fear when he practice generosity. So why fear is related here, right? The fear is binded with stinginess and selfishness sometimes. Why we are stingy? I'm not saying that I'm a very generous person. In deep inside, I'm thinking I'm a stingy person. There's always level, right? But why we become stingy? Why we become like, that? Because of the fear. In general, when you have a fear of losing something, you become stingy. Surely attachment there. So attachment is also comes with fear. It's a little different than greed, right? Greed is like, you want something. It's like desire to have something. More like, like attacking for other people's, wealth, sort of. And then what is the attachment? I'm not telling you the perfect definition. I'm just telling, approximately. Attachment is more like once you have it, then you don't want to lose it. At that moment, you get really strong attachment there. Right? You don't want to lose it. Then you attach there. Why you don't want to lose it? Then, you have fear of losing that thing. You have fear of losing that thing. Then you get attachment. Then because of that attachment, then you can attract other people. You can, hit other people. You can, upset even your friend. Or you can be like anything after that. Because of, the fear of losing something that you have. Right? So stinginess is also part of that. There's saying, Kala Nori de la Sinayu, who have money, those have stinginess. That's the Tibetan teaching. Who have money, those have stinginess. Why? They have something. If you have nothing, you don't have that much. You cannot have that much stinginess. What you will lose, right? When you have bunch of things, then you get stinginess there. Because you have fear of losing something that you have. So, who have wealth, those have stinginess. And that is like, not for everybody in general. But, I can clearly say that the Bodhisattva has wealth, but he doesn't have stinginess. And I also have seen some people who have no wealth that much, they are super stingy. But both are there in general, right? When you have too much, when you have so much, it's likely that you get more, stinginess because, you have fear of losing something, losing your wealth. And therefore, when the Bodhisattva doesn't have that fear, he thinks the wealth that he have is not the main point. He understood that the main goal is to have happiness. The wealth is something that to bring you happiness. So then for him, his own happiness is not very important. For him, the other's happiness is important. Therefore, if he used his wealth and that brought happiness, if it helped others, and he think that is the most meaningful thing to do. And therefore, he doesn't have a fear of losing his own wealth. And that's why there's no space for stinginess or selfishness in his world. Therefore, there's no attachment on his world, his wealth. So he is ready to spend any single penny to help somebody. That we have to know. When you practice generosity, right? When you give away something that should benefit other, right? If you give something to other, if you are not sure it benefit other or it harm other, then you keep doing it, and that is not right thing. The right practice of generosity is the practice and that benefit other, that help others. I think that is important. That's why Bodhisattva will not feel regret. Otherwise, you keep spending money or anything you are trying to help, then later on you realize it's not benefiting other. You might feel regret after that. And that is, a worst case, something that happened after your practice of generosity. So then Bodhisattva is not attached to his wealth, and he is ready to spend things to benefit other. In that case, I personally thinking, is that like right to have fear, or is that wrong to have fear, right? And there's two things, And do we need fear to lose our money or get sick in the future or something happen in the future? Or should we be like a cow all the time, right? Doesn't worry that much, happy. So sometimes I suggest people to live like cow, right? Sometimes I feel like, there's good solution. If you think too much, you should understand how to be like cow. If you don't do anything, you should be thinking like how to be like a monkey. Right? So the funny thing is like fear, right? Do we need fear or not? In general, right? In general, I think there are some situations we should have a little sort of fear. We should have awareness. Actually, it's not actually, fear that much. It's more like awareness. We can call it intelligent fear, right? Fear that doesn't make you stress, or that doesn't harm you. Fear that can help you. Like, I like the people who are frugal, right? Who are frugal, who spend things that they should spend and not spending extra. And these people, surely they have, intelligent fear, or, they have awareness. Like, when you eat the food, right? Always saying, if you eat less, if you don't eat extra, that will extend your life. You live longer. And that is very interesting thing. Like, in earlier time, in Tibetan understanding, saying like, eat well as you can, that you will get stronger, you will gain more strength in your body, you live long. But nowadays, when I listen to those, science talk, fasting is good for, extending your life. If you don't eat extra, your body doesn't need to work extra, and that is good. So, okay, here, there's no big problem to be frugal, right? Meaning like, don't eat extra, don't, I sometimes I talk to my friends and like even my parents, I say, don't make yourself like garbage bag. They say, what do you mean that? Don't be like garbage bag. In our Tibetan tradition, if you have a food in the plate, they say, oh, don't waste it, eat it. Like they say, eat it, don't waste it. Then just, if you eat something extra, what's different between, the garbage that you're going to throw there and your tummy, that your belly, you put the food? If you don't need, honestly, if you need, surely it will digest. Otherwise, it's same thing, Maybe for environment, let us maybe a little better if you eat. I don't know, but funny subject, but like that. So then some people are very frugal, that they eat certain food and a certain amount. And when they buy the things, they buy things and that cost that much, right? Sometimes the marketplace is so funny. You can buy an apple for $1, $2, $3, $10. So sort of, so you should know what you should have, what is, the right thing to do. So like the being frugal is great, right? But does it mean that you are stingy? So what is stingy? What you can tell, how can you distinguish between frugal and stingy? Stingy, the most time stingy people, what they do, they don't think that much about what they buy, what they use. They focus on the money more than food. Like, for example, stingy people will think like, it's easy to make an example here. Since I'm stingy sometimes. So it's simple, right? You just think about there's food, right? And there's money. You think, do I need to eat that food or not? Is that perfect for you or not? That you are being, frugal. Do I have to? That you are stingy is you are not even thinking about food. You are just looking to the price, right? The price. How expensive is it? $2. I should have 5 of them, right? Then it's like $5. I don't want it. That is kind of, you are focusing more on the price than the food. And then sometimes people even, don't think that, spending like, spending, then most time they for themselves. So anyway, being frugal is, I think, good. So that's why when I see that people, when they don't spend that much, I never judge them as a stingy person, right? They could be frugal, right? I cannot judge people. And then some people, they are thinking about like, in the future, right? So then in that way, they can save money. The saving is not bad thing. People who save something, I don't think they are stingy, because like it's really good name in a saving, right? What it save really? It save you from asking, you from giving trouble for other, and that is like saving. You have little saving, if you get problem, you don't have to bother other people immediately. You can your saving might save you sometime. And then best thing is what you can get from fear is like prevention. Prevent the problem. If you have fear of if you are aware that you might get a particular disease, you can prevent it earlier. Like your relatives have diabetes, you have to be if you are aware of it, you can prevent diabetes, right? Blood pressure or any kind of disease there. Then if you are not good at handling money, then you can also prevent future problems. Sometimes it's not about stingy or unaware. Some people are not good at handling money. They even doesn't know how to count that much. If you have that issue, then prevention, I should prevent future problem, right? And then, so in that case, the little fear or little worry or little, not little awareness about future problems, and that benefit you, and that also can help you, right? But sometimes the fear of losing money, the fear of getting sick, a fear of being isolated in the future could be big problem right now in your life, which is not necessary. Like a burdening fear that stress you, fear that become like a burden on you. If you will get problem after 5 years, then that day after 5 years, you are facing problem. You don't have to face problem right now. But sometimes your fear, right, exaggerate something, created something, and then your future problem become your current problem. And that is, the problem of fear. Then you could not eat well, you could not sleep well, you cannot even think well because of your fear, right? And that is like burdening fear. And then that fear, we don't need. A fear that makes you are not able to enjoy your life. And sometimes that kind of fear is very likely to have in our life. There's one Tibetan saying, I like that saying. It says, no, I forget that in how to say it in Tibetan. Since I'm speaking in English, so I forget how to say it in Tibetan. It says, before you break the back of pony, before pony is born. And that is a Tibetan saying, right? So, like that is we're talking about fear. Like in a story is a family, they have a very good horse, right? A female horse. And then that is very young and is not pregnant yet. Then the father told his own kid, in the future, when our horse have baby pony, right? I will give that pony to you, right? The kid is so happy. Kid says, oh, I'm so happy. Then I will ride the pony. Then the father really got upset. Father, slapped on the kid's face and said, then you will break the back of pony's back. If you ride the pony, then you will break the pony's back. He hit the kid. So there's no pony yet, right? Their horse is not pregnant yet. Nothing is there. But the father started worry about kid will break the pony's back. And that is the fear. Nothing is there yet. Nothing has happened. You will start to worry about it. You will start to take action for it, right? So that is, many people are, facing that problem. You are thinking about something that not happened yet. That you are dreaming about it. You will start to worry about it. And, and in that way, it causes a lot of, mental stress and problems. So that kind of fear will not help. That kind of fear makes you sometimes stupid. You could not think very well. That kind of fear makes you nervous. The inside of your heart, you lose confidence. You lose calmness. You are always sort of, ready to run or ready to cry or ready to, I don't know. So in that case, the Bodhisattva, has no fear of losing his wealth. Oh, why? He his wealth is doing what it's supposed to do, benefiting others, providing a lot of happiness. And that is the thing. So I talk too much about fear. So then in that interesting story, right, as we read, then the king of God, in that Jataka tells story, there's a man, a great actor is the king of God. Always show up there and then prove it. So then when he disappear all wealth, right? Then it's not that Bodhisattva is run out of wealth to practice, but the king of God intentionally disappear everything. And then that moment, now he was thinking, the king of God was thinking, maybe sometimes it seems like they have no fear. If you are in the situation, you might get fear. So that's why he took everything away, disappear all wealth. His everything become like empty space. And that moment, Bodhisattva has nothing. He left only two things, right? A sickle and a rope to tie up grass. And that moment, then he suggests Bodhisattva, right? Bodhisattva has nothing to give away. Nothing is running out of the object to practice generosity. And this moment, he asked Bodhisattva, okay, so why you now you go out and ask money from other, beg from other, then you will get it, right? That he suggests Bodhisattva to beg money from other. That's suggested by the king of heaven, in the human form, show up there. Then, at that moment, and Bodhisattva, what he did, he said, no. Right, very interesting. I was surprised here. He said, no. He said, in this life, I am ready to give away. I don't want to ask other people's money. Some people think that is idiot. If you have nothing, you should ask, right? In this Bodhisattva, I like his, attitude or moral stand. He want to benefit other. He want to help other, right? And then if he, right, ask money from other or wealth from other, and that will not benefit other in this way, and that makes other feel like that will bother other people, and that may cause harm for other. He doesn't want to do it. Then he said, in this life, that's also interesting. Some situation, maybe some case, he Bodhisattva also has to accept harm from others. But in this life, he want to practice fully generosity. This is time to give others. It's not time to take from others. Give to other. So he said, I never ask, harm from other this life, and I don't want to put anybody in difficult situation. In a way, he is also thinking, if I ask from another person, if I give it to other, that is also, not, he feel like that is not also, the right thing to do for him, because he's practicing intensive generosity. And then instead of asking money from other, he decided to work. He said, I will pick up that sickle and rope and I will go to work and help other that way. That is a very great teaching. In earlier teachers, the great the Tibetan practitioner, very earlier one, they say this teaching is also showing that what kind of object you can use in generosity. That great Bodhisattva pick up the sickle, right, and the rope and start to work. Like what? Cutting grass, collecting grass. If he cut the grass, the cutting grass is like very low level work in India. You will not earn that much, right? But what you can have bunch of grass. So what he did, he cut the grass, he gave the grass to other as practice of generosity. And then earlier teachers, practitioners say, if you practice generosity, you don't have to give other jewels or to very expensive, even though you can give grass to other as part of your practice of your generosity. And that is, right, very interesting and meaningful teaching, right? Even though you have the teachers, like Podova, the Podova Kadamba teacher, he said that, just, he is just after Adisha, he said that, in this world, right, nobody is lacking object to give away to practice generosity. They are lacking because of, their mind. They cannot let things go away. Other than that, you can give water to other people as practice of generosity. You can give grass for other people as practice of generosity. You can, give information for others as a practice of generosity, right? There's so much thing we can give to others. Surely, if you have something what they need, such as money or this food or whatever, and that is great. But don't worry about, never think that you are so poor to practice generosity. That I think earlier teachers take that part seriously. Sort of advanced teaching from this tale. Okay, then in this teaching, which part also makes me thing that is interesting is, there's a discussion between, King of God and Bodhisattva, right? King of God is kind of not very irrational or not reasonable. He was saying that, he said that even though, you are, what do you call it, the makeup things like perfume All right, and they made example of like the Migmen in Tibetan. Migmen is like in India they have a black ink, right? Maybe not actually ink. I don't know what you call it. They put it on their eyelash, the black one, and that is their great makeup. And how much they put? They put tiny there, right? He said even though you use that every day, one day you are running out of that black, the black ink or whatever you put there, right? So if you use something every day, tiny bit, like the soap that you use when you take bath, right? The toothpaste you use, if you use it every day, it lasts a lot. For me, maybe I don't use that much, but one day you have to buy another one, right? He was saying, then he said that was a word from the King of God saying, don't spend that much. If you keep spending, anything can be running out of at the end. Then he said, collect and keep, save and save. If you save, look at those ant castle will become like 12 feet or like sometimes 20 feet, right? That high. Tiny ant will bring those tiny piece of sand. So then he said, if you want to be rich or if you want to be happy, don't spend anything, collect everything. I think the King of God is not talking totally nonsense. Surely, if you keep using something, you will end up running out of it, right? For example, if you are not working and you are using the money you have, one day, if your money lasts longer than your life, okay. Other than that, you are running out of the money, right? Then if you save tiny bit all the time, one day you will get enough. That is fact. That is true. But what made him mistake is he said, therefore, don't spend and keep everything in your hand and collect all the time. And that's the problem, right? You spend and you earn both, right? You earn, you spend. Right? Then if you earn more than you spend, you can slowly build up the castle, right? Other than that, if you keep only earning, not spending, then what is worth? What is meaning of earning? But in that king's the heaven king's word, I like that one. He said, if you spend things, you will end up running out of it. Some people don't know that. Some people, I'm not saying everybody. Some people, right, not working, keep spending, then they are not aware of they will end up running out, right? And then some people also think like, if I don't spend anything, I will be okay. That is wrong. I'm not a business person, but I think like business people sometimes, right? If you don't spend, it's also running out. If you don't earn, if you don't work. Why I'm saying that, I have seen people who earn whole life and have nothing there because the time, you have enough money now. If you keep that same amount of money for many after many years, it's not that valuable. It's not what is not there, right? So anyway, too much talking about how to handle the wealth. So, but since we all are living as human beings, there's like a general topic to talk, and it's I think practical. But Bodhisattva's answer is, he did not say, oh, you are wrong, money will not run out, right? if you collect all the time, it will not increase. He did not say that. He said, okay, but the wealth is impermanent. It will not stay as now. It will change. And then the goal of having wealth is to have happiness, right? If you don't have happiness, if your wealth cannot provide you happiness, and that is totally wrong. And then if you increase your selfishness from your wealth, and that is 100% going wrong way. Instead of wealth give you happiness, your wealth gives you suffering, right? So he said, therefore all bodhisattvas will not, follow the path of stinginess. So by the way, I'm crossing the line, meaning it's a timeline. We should be done now. So thank you very much. And we do here every Sunday, we do Sunday talk. For me, sometimes Sunday talk becomes sort of a little bit like, intensive, like sort of very official. Earlier time, first time when I do the Sunday talk, the Gelek Rinpoche asked me to do Sunday talk. I said, what should I do? What should I talk? He said, talk whatever you want. I have no idea when he said, whatever I want, right? Then I asked, what do you mean? He said, just tell a story that you have in the monastery, whatever, right? So that is really like, chit-chat talk. Should be. But, so anyway, so our Sunday talk could be like that. But, for me, okay, my personal story, I don't know how it benefit others, right? So, by the way, but we do Sunday talk, and then most time I bring general topic. And then not only there, right, in Johar, we have many other programs. And there are bunch of things to talk about. And what I heard is like, in next week, there's like Thayab Rinpoche's Lamrim teaching in 60 verses. Yeah, and that's really interesting. If you heard whole around Lamrim in 7 sections, and that could be like really interesting, right? So then we have a lot of other programs. So you might heard at my talk. So thank you very much. I should stop now.